Week 1 is in the books. We say farewell to Lee Corso. We say farewell to the Alabama dynasty. We say welcome. We say hello to Arch Manning, but whatever that was, we're going to talk about Clemson. We're going to talk about Florida State, Ohio State, Texas, Miami, Notre Dame. There were so many games this weekend that are deserving being discussed.
South Florida
knocking off Boise. But before that, we have to talk about college. We're back into college football. Football. If you're not doing so already, make sure to rate the podcast. Follow us on social media at Walk-On Redshirts. Check out the walkonredshirts.com. And we had like 10 or 12 pieces of media come out last week. Plenty of good stuff getting you ready for each week of the college football season. Make sure you also go join Squad Blitz. We've got an exciting announcement to make later today. Actually, screw it. I'll make it right now. The Walk-On Redshirts is sponsoring their main contest this week. We are going to be giving away, I don't have it here with me, so if you're watching on YouTube, sorry, but it is a whiskey glass of Band Fall Weddings. We're going to give away a couple whiskey glasses this week. So
I love it.
Make sure that if you haven't, go sign up, click us as a referral, get a chance to win. I think I came in second place on one of them last week, Will.
You did. You came in second. I came in 13th. But it's going to be a real shame when I win those whiskey glasses. It's going to be a real shame.
I don't know if you're going to be eligible, if we're going to be honest.
Oh, I can be eligible. I'm bowl eligible.
You're bowl eligible?
Look at my GPA. I'm not Kent State or Akron, whoever it was.
Hey,
you know what's
Kent
awesome
State
about
won a game.
Walk-On
Kent
Redshirts?
State won their first game in over a year.
Yep. Stop the count. They're undefeated. What's great about the Walk-On Redshirts, not to be biased, this isn't biased at all. And if you've listened to the show, you know I'm not biased at all. If you like video media, you can watch us on YouTube. If you like reading, if you're a nerd, you can read our articles. If you like betting, we have betting guides. There's so many things on the Walk-On Redshirts that I don't think people realize. That if you tap into that website, baby, it's locked and loaded. You like fantasy football? We've got Squad Blitz. You like cooking? We got Gridiron Spices. Jake, we've got it all. We've got it all at the Walk-On Redshirts.
I used Gridiron Spices last week for my wings. It's a nice little zing. Ooh, those were some good smoked wings I used for Gridiron last week. Let's talk about college football. So obviously, I'm going to start off talking about Lee Corso. The most poetic ending to a career ever.
If you don't believe in God, you do now, because Lee Corso just proved it by going 6 for 6 on his last ever game day.
Well, not only that. So he goes 6 for 6, and all of the teams that he either coached for or played for won this weekend as well.
Yep.
This man did not go out with an L. He got everything right, and all his teams won.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it was perfect. I'm not gonna lie, I shed a couple tears. My wife's like, "Why are you crying over this dude? He's just in a tux." I was like, "No, you don't understand. This is Lee Corso is my childhood, and I just remember growing up. Saturdays in the fall, the doors would be open. You know, my mom would have candles going, some fall smells, maybe some pumpkin spice if you're nasty. The little cool South Carolina 75-degree breeze, because that's what you get in the fall in South Carolina. And then you turn on game day and you hear Reese Davis welcome you in. Or Reese Davis welcome you in.
It would have been Chris Fowler at that point.
Chris Fowler, you're right. Chris Fowler welcomes you in. And then there's Lee Corso, and he's putting on headgear, and he's saying crazy things, and he's cussing out kids, and he's calling other kids midgets, and he's shooting guns in the air. Like, Lee Corso is a legend. I mean, college football, NCAA 12, 11, 9, 8, all of those. You didn't ask coach for your play. Who'd you ask? You asked Corso. You asked Corso. So just when you think college football, his face is on there. If you did the Mount Rushmore of college football figures, Lee Corso has to be included. Because anytime I think of college football, I think of Lee Corso.
You can't tell the story of college football without Lee Corso, because college game day has become a staple in so many people's lives. And even if some people aren't as big of a fan of it as they were, from 2000 to 2012, 2014, 2015 era, college game day was peak. It was must-see television. You were at it every week. You knew where you were going to be. And being at the Ohio State game, I mean, it was awesome when they roll the desk out, at the 50-yard line. The lock of the century, though, Corso was put on that Buckeye head. He was putting Brutus on. There was no other way he was ending his tenure rather than starting with Brutus and ending with Brutus.
Did you see what Ryan Day did, the gift that Ohio State gave him?
I heard they gave him a gift. I did not see it.
So it was an Ohio State helmet, and it said Lee Corso on one side, then it had the stickers on the other. And he said there's one sticker for every time you picked Ohio State, and we won. And so he gives it to him, and then he gives him a sticker that's not on the helmet yet. And he goes, "I'm hoping you'll get to use this one later." I was like, "Wow,
that's awesome!"
It's pretty freaking powerful. And then like in game day had everything. It puts you in your feels. It'll tell a nice story. You get to get excited for your team, or you get pissed off because they don't know ball because they told you your team's going to lose. You get to see all these cool campuses, camp bias, Josh Pate would say. You get to see the traditions, the foods, the people, the celebrities, like everything that makes this sport beautiful would be captured from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN every single day. And it just reminds me of why college football is the most beautiful sport in the entire world.
Yeah. I'm happy Lee Corso got to go out that way. I think there were a lot of people that was kind of ready for him to be done. But I think that the way he ended it was, as poetic and perfect as it could have been.
It is. It was.
Let's talk about the game that he was at. Let's talk about the Ohio State-Texas game. So I was at that game, obviously. I will say watching a game in person versus watching a game on TV, I'm sure everybody can relate to this. It's a little bit different than the analysis that you're going to give. So obviously I've watched and listened to a lot of stuff after this game, before this game, just like everybody else. Well, I want your opinion first. So what is your opinion? What was your biggest takeaway from this game?
So I'm not going to overreact. I think both of these teams have excellent defenses. I was worried about Ohio State's defense coming in with the amount that they lost, but the transfer portal guys mixed in perfectly. And anytime you have a guy like Caleb Downs in the backfield and the way they can move him, I mean, Matt Patricia, he got in his zone quick and figured out how he can move. And he utilized Caleb Downs in so many different ways. So just watching both of those defenses cook was amazing. That's why I'm still an arch hole. I'm still a big arch hole. I'm not going to give up on Arch Manning yet, and I'm not giving up on Julian Sand yet. I mean, I think both these guys went up against top 5 defenses in the freaking country in week 1. So I don't want to give that too much flowers. I will say this, Jake, if I told you that Ohio State would have 77 yards rushing and 126 yards passing,
I would assume that we got whooped. I would assume that we would have gotten dog walked, and it would have been something like 35-10.
Yeah, and then I told you in that same breath that Texas had 166 yards rushing.
Yeah, I would have been like, Texas just marched down the field on Ohio State all day.
And you'd probably say, well, there's no way that Arch threw more than 20 times. What if I then told you Arch threw for 30 times? And
yeah,
like, wow, they must
have
stayed on the field.
Yeah, I would have assumed that they just had their way with Ohio State.
Yeah.
So to me, the biggest takeaway here was it's nothing is Arch's fault for that media hype. It's his last name is going to bring the hype because the Manning legacy. Everybody knows the Manning legacy. Arch didn't come out and ask for that. Arch has taken plenty of NIL deals because he would be stupid not to. He'd be stupid not to take all the commercial deals that are available to him. You're not going to say, no, I'd rather keep it low key. I'm good. Money, I'm good on money. Granted, his uncles are rich, but that doesn't mean that he's loaded. Doesn't mean that he has, $100 million in the bank. And he wants to make a name for himself. So he'd be stupid to turn down the NIL deal. So, of course, that he's not asking for it. He's just using his name to his advantage there.
Right. In the wise words of my father-in-law, I'm rich, my daughter's not.
Exactly. So I think Arch Manning, I think that Sark held him back a little bit. And I also think Matt Patricia did a good job confusing Arch Manning.
Well, and Jake, why does Steve Sarkisian pee down his leg anytime he gets inside the 15-yard line? What is up with this?
I listened to a couple of Texas podcasts afterwards because I was curious. I wanted to hear what their thoughts were.
You weren't curious. You wanted to bathe in their tears.
Oh, I did.
Bathing in their tears, Jake.
Oh, of course. I did a little bit. But I also wanted to hear their thoughts because I wanted to hear, was it Texas threw the game away or did Ohio State win that? I was genuinely curious. Did they say, Texas milked this away? But the goal, there are 2 plays that changed this game completely. It's the goal line stop on 4th and goal at the 1-yard line. And they had possibly the worst QB sneak I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
I disagree because Jake,
I'm in the other
times last year that there were 6 times last year that the team was on the 1 yard line and Ohio State stopped him last year. 6 times.
Oh,
so
the goal line defense at the 1 yard line somehow impeccable, but at the 1 yard line, I'm on the other goal line, and I can tell before this play is even blown dead that he didn't get it. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, he didn't move.
Nowhere.
My wife goes, "How'd you know he didn't get out?" It's like the offensive line literally didn't budge. They didn't move at all.
Usually the center goes forward if you're going to get it, and he didn't move. The offensive line was stagnant. The other play was the underthrown interception where it was bad. It was underthrown. I don't know what happened. It looked like he had no arm strength. It looked like in a video game where all your stamina is gone, and that's like the furthest he could throw it. That was such a bad underthrow.
Yeah.
He tapped it. He tapped it and lobbed it instead of zipped it over to him. Just bad overall. So I told you about this before we started. I did a quick, very fast chart of Arch Manning's passes. This is not any sort of scientific data. This is me taking the Fox video they put out of all of Arch Manning's and going, hey, what's the line of scrimmage? How far did he throw it before it was completed or incomplete?
No, this is science. This is stoichiometry Walk-On Redshirts edition.
So until 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, let me read you his completions up until the 4 minute mark in the fourth quarter.
Not completions, air yards, right?
Yeah. This is how far in the air he threw the ball compared to the line of scrimmage. So this is from the line of scrimmage. 4 yards, 5 yards, 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage, 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, 4 yards, 1 yard, 2 yards, 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, 15 yards, 2 yards behind. And then at the 4 minute mark, he finally completes a 28-yard pass downfield. So if I'm going to combine all of those and see.
This is science, folks. This is what you tune in for.
It's an average. All those passes up until that 28-yard completion were an average of 1.5 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage.
So to put that in perspective, people, you want your quarterback, like the average quarterback is between 6.5 and 7.5 air yards per completion. So 1.5 ain't cutting it, buddy.
He threw 5 passes that were attempted further than 20 yards. He threw a 40-yarder, a 20-yarder. I count 28, 32, and 30. So also, these are also best guesses. So there's a chance there's one higher or a chance that a 20-yarder isn't quite correct. These are just my best guess from the Fox video that was put out.
Yeah.
Arch Manning last year threw a pretty good deep ball in those couple of games that he played. I know Ohio State's secondary was pretty strong, but in this kind of game, it really felt like the offenses were just trying to feel each other out. Like Julian's saying, we haven't really talked about him at all, and I don't want to spend too much time on this game because there's plenty of other games to talk about. It really just felt like Texas was trying to avoid mistakes, but also just hoping they could win the game in other ways rather than using their wide receivers and seeing if they can win a 50-50 ball. Like they didn't even try to really win 50-50 balls. There's only one or two that I can think of in the first half or in the first 3 quarters where they even tried a 50-50 ball.
Yeah. It was when I was watching the game, I said, this just looks vanilla. Both teams look vanilla, but I will say when you've got a guy, Julian, saying, I am not, so you talk about not taking shots as Arch Manning. They did the same thing with Julian saying. However, the dude was 13 for 20, completed most of his passes, and 4 of his passes, he should have been 17 for 20. 4 of his passes were dropped by someone that I thought.
2 by Jeremiah Smith.
Was it 2 or was it 3?
Jeremiah Smith had 2. Max Clara had 1 on a 4th down pass. Our preseason All-American tight end had a drop on the 4th down on the first drive, and then Brandon Innes had 1 over his shoulder. It was kind of a tough play.
Okay, that was the other one.
But Jeremiah Smith dropped 2 passes,
and they were easy.
They were easy. He was not getting hit. He just dropped them.
Which is, he changes his gloves. He goes on the sideline, changes his gloves, comes out, drops another one. So I'm like, what is happening? This dude had 1 drop all last year. Yeah. So there's 4 drops. This dude should have been 17 for 20, which puts you about an 85% completion percentage, which is insane.
You look at that a little bit different But he completed the one most important pass of the day, completes the 40-yard touchdown pass to Carnell Tate. A little bit underthrown. Carnell Tate makes a very good play to catch that ball.
Yes. Yeah. Well, when you're not throwing the ball deep and then they ask you to do it, I mean, you have to be – I don't know how he was ready. I don't know how his arm was ready to throw the ball that far. I mean, it ended up working out. I mean, when you have the wide receiver room that the Ohio State does, you can take those shots, but they just didn't. Like you said, Texas refused to. Where was Ryan Wingo? He was targeted 8 times. 8 times, had 2 catches for 35 yards. Ryan Wingo was supposed to be the guy that I was like, all right, this is who's going to help bail out Arch. This is why I think they're going to win, is because they're going to rely on a guy like Ryan Wingo in the passing game. No show. The dude was Bueller's day off, took the day off, didn't show up. Again, he was targeted 8 times. Nothing.
Yeah, there was a lot of confusing things about this game from Texas. I think Texas will be fine. They've got a couple cupcake games here before they get in the SEC schedule. But I'm interested to see how Arch comes back. I think you'll see a big passing game from him this week.
He'll be fine. I mean, I'm looking at their schedule. I'm not looking at their schedule now. I am. You've got San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston State. You don't worry about those. He's not going to play the entire game in those. Florida at the Swamp. That is when we're going to find out who Arch Manning is. Is he going to pee down his leg, or is he going to show up? Is he going to be a Manning? And you have to think he's more polished at that point. So, but
I would hope they would have at least got him more comfortable and
right,
just got him in a groove.
Apples to apples, Florida State, Ohio State stadium atmosphere. I would argue probably similar, at least when you talk about capacity. So I mean, his next tough game is on the road in a 100,000 freaking capacity stadium. So we're going to find out.
One final thing about Julian saying here, and then I want to move on to the next game here, is the game plan definitely, and I think I alluded to this last week, was basically just find a way to win. They weren't going to do anything crazy. The guy had 12 career attempts before Saturday's game. They weren't going to all of a sudden open up the playbook and just start running all of these difficult concepts. They were going to keep this easy 1-2 read. And I think Sane did a really good job. If he did get pressure, he evaded, he got out of the pocket. And I mean, he didn't take a single sack. So, I mean, you've got to give credit to the offensive line. You got to give credit to him to be able to maneuver around the pocket there too and get rid of the ball if needed.
Quick take before we move on. What are the odds that both of these teams didn't want to show too much? Obviously, Arch struggled, so I don't want to take that away. And I know both teams wanted to win, so I'm not questioning their competitiveness. What are the odds that they don't want to show too much because they're both fairly confident they're going to make it to the playoff? So, hey, we lose this game, we lose it. If we win it, we win it. That'd be great. We're going to win it by not having to show the rest of the conference what we have.
I think I don't want to necessarily say I agree with that. I think there maybe is a little bit. I think if anything, it's because of the youth at the quarterback position. Just because, like Texas, they can't take any loss for granted because of how difficult the schedule is going through it. Like Sark had to look at that and go, if we go undefeated, that would be amazing. But there's probably a very slim chance we go undefeated. And if you saw a team lose 3 games last year and miss the playoffs, you lose to Ohio State out of conference and you lose 2 more in conference, are you going to make it still?
And I'm going to go ahead and thwart my take. If you're a team that's worth your salt, you got any piss to you, you're not playing with any of your food.
No,
you don't want to lose any games. You want to be undefeated. You know, you think about the culture at Alabama, who we're going to talk about soon, perceptibly. I'm not in the program. You can't take anything for granted, no opponents, no nothing. So, I mean, if Texas is serious about being a playoff contender year in and year out, they're not going to hold anything back. I just wanted to throw that out there and see what you thought.
No, I don't think so. I do think that there's some question. I think the play calling was questionable of how they managed it. I also think that maybe Matt Patricia just put Arch Manning in a blender. And
Sarkisian puts himself in a blender when he gets inside the red zone.
He does. Let's jump over to your team. Let's jump over to LSU versus Clemson. LSU wins this game 17-10. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, what's positive? What's positive is
college football is on TV.
College football is on TV. No, Clemson's defense was improved. They looked a lot better. They were stopping the run for the most part. I know Durham had a good game. Caden Durham, but the defense looked a lot better. I mean, you talk about one of the best offenses in the country projected coming into this game in LSU. You'd think both of these teams would have one of the best offenses in the country, and LSU scored 17. So just like I told you, hey, if you got outrushed, outpassed by Texas, and this is what you did on your side of the football, what do you think would happen? If I told you hindsight, you'd say, oh, Texas drummed us. But what if you told me that LSU only scored 17 points against Clemson? I would have said, oh, that was a bloodbath. That was a bloodbath. 17-10. Clemson's offense comes out and just lays a dud. So the most glaring stat of the entire night was one rush attempt in the second half. One, Jake. One. Not two. One. First, and you know what play it was? The first play of the second half. 7-yard run. And then, you know what? Let's just not go back to that. Let's just stay away from it for the rest of the game. So, a little discouraged in that. But if I'm discouraged by anything the most, everybody wants to blame the offensive line. They want to blame the inexperienced running back. I'm looking at number 2. I'm looking at Cade Klubnik. There was plenty of opportunities for him to A, tie the game, B, put the game away, etc., and just missed them. 2 plays in a row, the third down and the fourth down play at the end of the game where LSU sealed it. Tyler Brown was wide open and walks in the end zone to send the game to overtime. Doesn't hit either of them. Doesn't trust his pass protection. And you saw last year when we played Virginia Tech, when we played LSU, or not LSU, when we played Georgia, when we played Texas, there was times he didn't trust his protection and didn't get an opportunity to even block for him. So if this team is going to be a playoff team and potentially a national championship contender, he has got to step up and he's got to make it easier on his guys. And how do you do that? You don't eliminate the pocket by running out of it immediately. Trust your guys can win, step up into the pocket and make the throws. Trust your reads, work through your progressions, and he's going to be able to do that. So if the worst thing out of the game is that Cade Klubnik struggled and was 50% for 230 yards, I think I can live with that against what seems to be a top 5 team in the country, a top 5 roster in the country. Now, let's give LSU their flowers. Garrett Nussmeier is a freaking NFL quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Great anticipation, great touch, great accuracy. The dude is just a gamer. So hats off to him. They got very, very, very creative in the offense with motions. There was one time they ran the same play 3 times in a row because we didn't shift out of what we were doing. They saw something, they exploited it 3 times in a row. So their players made the big time plays in the big time game. So hats off to them. The sky is not falling for Clemson. The world is not burning, but there are question marks and things that have to be answered before week 3. Week three, we go to Atlanta, play Georgia Tech. If you don't have things figured out offensively, that could be rough too.
Yeah, I will say it's definitely a rough start to the game when you have Caden Durham in the backfield and Wade Woodaz just loses him, and Caden Durham runs for 24 yards.
Longest rush of the game, very first play.
Yeah, Caden Durham ran for 24 yards on the first play of the game, and Clemson had 31 yards rushing total.
Yeah.
That
not a good look.
To me, Jake, when I went and looked at the box scores afterwards, that was the biggest glaring thing to me. It was the fact that Clemson only ran for 31 yards because, Dabo even came out that they said they need to get Adam Randall the ball more. Well, you gave him the ball 5 times for 16 yards. Like, how do you expect him to ever get in a groove if you only give him the ball 5 times running the ball?
His first time playing significant snaps at the position is just it's pretty ignorant, and I think obviously they know that. So it was frustrating to watch. It was very frustrating to watch from that aspect. Jake, if you
think that was a Garrett Riley thing, being like, we don't really have a reliable running back there right now. So, Cade Klubnik's third-year starter. Let's just put the game on his shoulders and have him go win it.
Yeah, absolutely. You trusted those guys. You trusted the receivers, and dude, they were winning. So, like, if I'm Garrett, I'm watching. It's like everybody's crapping on him right now too. But if you watch the tape, it wasn't the play calling. It was the execution. Mm-hmm. It was missing the dudes that were wide open. It was dropping the passes when you had the opportunity. yes, it sucks that you run the ball and it makes the defense. It makes it a hell of a lot easier on the defense to know what you're doing. You're very predictable when you can't run the football and you only run it once and a half. So that part sucks. I also saw a stat that it was 22 minutes and 56 seconds from the time that ESPN started their coverage of the game till kickoff. So 7:30 to whatever 7:52, and Clemson only had the ball for 22 minutes in the game. So they possessed the ball less time than it took for them to run down the hill and do all the pregame stuff. That was a little disheartening. So no, Garrett Riley can improve by trying to establish the run more, but it all falls down to Cade Klubnik. And if he can't play, Dabo said this today too. If he's not going to be a dude, we're going to suck. Period.
I mean, yeah, and if Cade Klubnik can't handle that pressure, then he was never going to be like a future NFL guy. He wasn't going to be potential Heisman. Like, he's a third-year starter. Right. Been in the program for a bunch of years now. Like, it's time. Like, it's time. If you're going to be the guy that's going to do this, the expectation, all the returning talent. Like, it's time to be the guy. It's time to step up. It's time to, to make those plays when it's needed. Like, that's exactly where we are.
And he can. So the most negative part of the game was Cade Klubnik. The positive part of the game coming out of the game was that, well, I've seen what he can do. I know he's going to respond. If that's the worst thing that happened in that game, I'm all about it. And Jake, if you take away that 24-yard run, they would have had 84 yards rushing on 30 attempts, which puts you at about 2 yards per carry. Yeah. So that changes things drastically. So, I mean, it's not like they had a lot of success running the football.
No, so Garrett Nussmeier just was picking you guys apart.
Right. He went 28 for 38. I mean, he only had 10 incompletions. So Clemson's defense was opportunistic. They forced 2 turnovers, no picks. So that was a little disheartening. And then some pretty boneheaded key penalties at the end of the game, pulling on a guy's jersey, and then obviously the roughing the passer, whatever you want to think if it was or wasn't. Garrett Nussmeier is addicted to drawing roughing the passer penalties when he gets tapped. I was so mad because he acted like he died. I thought he tore both his ACLs and broke both of his ankles. By the way, he got up and started limping around, and then it goes into TV timeout. Fourth quarter starts, and he's walking like he's fresh off the bus. So whatever. Both these teams, I think, are playoff teams. LSU proved it. I would love to face them again in the playoffs.
I think LSU has a legitimate case for. I mean, if someone ranked LSU number 1, like, I know people weren't happy about that. Preseason rankings don't mean a ton, so if you came out of that and go, I think LSU is number 1, I respect that. I don't really care that Texas was ranked preseason number 1 by the AP. I don't because it's based off of what we think
last year and what we think.
It's based off of what we think,
projections,
talent. We think it's like you came out of that thinking, hey, I think LSU is number 1 team. They got Garrett Nussmeier. I think Garrett Nussmeier is the best quarterback in college football. Okay. Yeah, that's fine with me. Harold Perkins looked good. Harold Perkins had a sack. Harold Perkins played pretty well, actually showed up, and they actually figured out how to use him. I think LSU's defense has vastly improved. I think if LSU has a defense, they could easily be a favorite for the SEC this year.
And they do have a defense. I can't confirm, but it is exploitable if you have a quarterback that makes the routine plays routinely. And Cade will do that. We're going to bounce back.
I'm not sure the SEC has many other ones, though, if you really think about it.
That's true. DJ Lagway, maybe.
I mean, Arch Manning, we think is going to get better. Lenore Sellers doesn't have much around him. He has to do everything by himself. Gunnar Stockton, I'm not taking anything that happened against the school blind and deaf seriously, so we'll see what happens with Gunnar Stockton.
We are Marshall.
They have, I forgot it was Marshall. I thought it was a Georgia directional school for some reason, but Marshall has a whole new team anyways. Who was the other one? Ole Miss, maybe. I didn't really get a chance to watch Austin Simmons, so I can't really tell much. Tennessee looked good again with Joey Aguilar, but like, there's none that I look at and go, yeah, like that quarterback is going to find a way to hit all of his throws against LSU. Like, there's some higher ceilings and some lower floors with these guys. I think Florida could be a lot of fun, but I just have to trust that DJ Lagway is consistent and stays healthy.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up LSU's schedule.
But I think LSU, after the way they played Saturday, I think they're the favorite to win the SEC at this point.
Yeah, so you think about it, quarterbacks that could, yes, I agree. Them in Oklahoma, again, are still my two favorites. Florida, maybe DJ Lagway can do it. Then you have Southeast Louisiana. I think they might be good on that one. Ole Miss,
Austin
South Carolina.
Lenore Sellers had to do everything by himself.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about. I mean, well,
Lenore Sellers is going to win a game that they shouldn't win because he's going to have an insane game.
Yeah, if you watch Virginia Tech, he put the team on his back very early. Ole Miss, Austin Simmons. Yeah, again, we don't know. We don't know who he is. The Austin Simmons project is just started. Texas A&M, Marcel Reed. I'm not worried about his arm. Ty Simpson, we just saw what they did against Florida State. No spoilers,
I'm not worried about
we're talking
Bama
about
right
next.
now.
Arkansas, Taylon Green, if he's even healthy at this point in the season. Western Kentucky, MacGyver. Don't sleep on Maverick MacGyver.
Oh, MacGyver might be able.
He's already got 800 some odd yards passing. Jake, think about that.
He's going to set for 5,000 this year.
Yeah. So and then Oklahoma, John Mateer. That would be the one I'm circling as an.
Yeah. Oklahoma didn't look great, but week one, new offense, whatever. All right, let's talk about Alabama and Florida State, because my hot take last week was this game was going to be over by halftime, and if it was over by halftime, it's because the other team was winning. Yeah,
I think your take was more leaning towards Alabama had already run them out of the building.
I said it'd be over by halftime. We are going to leave the detail out that I said Alabama would be up by that much.
Oh, okay.
Florida State absolutely took Bama to the woodshed and out physicaled them. They on the offense in the trenches, basically in the trenches the whole day. They out physicaled them. They had Ty Simpson running for his life. Alabama couldn't run the ball. They averaged 3 yards a carry. Tommy Castellanos only had to throw the ball 15 times. Tommy Castellanos ran for 70 yards. Anytime there was any bit of pressure, he just took off and ran for 15 yards.
Jake, the most glaring stat was the rushing yards. 230 for Florida State to Alabama's 74. 74 to 230. Like you said, 2.5 yards per rush for Alabama. This is unprecedented, people.
The last 20 years, you can think of all the Alabama running backs between Najee Harris, Trent Richardson, Derrick Henry, TJ Yeldon. I mean, we can have this list go on and on and on for Josh Jacobs, guys that were balling or just great running backs at Alabama. And I don't know what to make of this. I know that Jam Miller's injured, but under Nick Saban,
that's not.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. They had another guy. They had 3 more guys in the stable ready to go if the starting running back was injured. Richard Young's a former 5-star running back. The offensive line was not making holes. The offensive line was not doing well in pass protection. Ty Simpson was running for his life constantly. This is a very different Alabama team, and I don't know how long Kalen DeBoer lasts at Alabama.
And Jake, I'll tell you this too. You want to talk about glaring too. So Alabama, okay, all right, maybe they didn't run the ball well, but they had to have thrown the ball well. They had to have thrown the ball better than Florida State. You look at it, face value, okay, they threw for 100 more yards. They threw for 250 and Florida State threw for 150. It doesn't show you
that they were trailing the whole game.
It also doesn't show you that Alabama was completing 5 yards per pass to Florida State's 10 yards per pass. Mm-hmm. So Florida State, yes, they threw for 100 less yards, but they were double. They were more efficient. They were 100% more efficient than your team. This was
Gus Malzahn had Alabama's defense on skates all day.
So shout out to Tommy Castellanos. We gave him a lot of crap during the offseason for running his mouth. We're like, oh, you're about to get humbled. You're an idiot.
He backed that up.
Hey, hand up. I was wrong, Tommy. I wasn't familiar with your game. You backed it up and you made a t-shirt out of it. And I hope you're making a lot of money off of Nick Can't Save You. Those are beautiful.
I hope he makes a ton of money off of that because he shut everybody up.
And I hope he sells that again during Christmas, but put Saint Nick Can't Save You. That'd also be a good one.
That would be a good one.
No free. Hey, so Tommy, if you listen to the Walk-On Redshirts, I'm pretty sure you're a 5-star listener.
You owe us commission.
The royalties, royalties on that one, buddy.
Royalties, please.
But
1%'s fine.
In all seriousness, This game like reminded me a lot of the bowl game, Alabama and Michigan, to the point where it was eerily similar when Florida State takes the lead. I think they're up 10, and then the torrential downpour just happens. And I was like, oh my God, this is Alabama, Michigan. And then it clears up, and all right, here we go. Alabama's going to come back. And what happens? Alabama starts to come back. Chip, 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 chip. And then Florida State just responds, bang. And then Alabama starts to come back. Chip, 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 chip. And then Florida State, bang. I was very, very impressed with the attitude that Florida State had. But I also like that Mike Norvell was like, game's not over. Game's not over. Game's not over. Just because we're up at the first quarter, calm down. Just because we're up at the second quarter, calm down. Even though they weren't up after the first quarter. They were up at halftime. He kept keeping them in check. The game is not over. The game is not over. The game is not over. And then it was. And I think he was in shock. I think everybody in Tallahassee was in shock. I think everybody in the college football world, except for Lee Corso, was in shock. Kevin DeBoer, you are on the hottest seat in college football as an 0-1 team for the number now 21 team in the country. Mm-hmm. That's insane. But that's how
I think I have two takeaways from this. One, I think Florida State's good. I mean, I'm watching that game. I think Florida State's good. I am thinking maybe we're also overreacting a little bit. I think that Florida State all of a sudden isn't – I don't think they're suddenly like a top 10 team. I think there are some people that are having them in their playoff already. Okay. Let's
calm down.
Let's calm down. Like beating Bama is great. Big win. Absolutely big win. You got a big game here against Miami here in a couple weeks. You got play Pitt. Like you still have Clemson. You still got NC State. You still got Florida on the schedule. 10 wins is certainly within the realm. 10 wins, 10-2 is certainly possible. There's also like 8-4 is still an insane comeback from the 2-win season last year.
And 8-4 is where I had them projected.
I think that they're going to win more than 8 games this year based off, I mean, beating Alabama. I think that they're going to win more than 8 games because I think you can look at East Texas A&M, which I didn't know was a school. Kent State, I think they're going to beat Virginia. I think they're better than Virginia will.
Don't get them on Virginia. It's on a Friday. It's perfect for Virginia.
I think they'll beat Pitt. I think they'll beat Stanford. I think they'll beat Wake Forest. Stanford, Wake Forest might be 2 of the worst teams in all of college football, period.
Yeah.
I think they'll beat Virginia Tech. I think they'll beat NC State. I think their schedule, I think they will lose to 2 of the 3 between Miami, Clemson, and Florida. I think they'll lose 2 of the 3. But for all I know, they just beat Alabama. So maybe they only lose 1 game, but they're not going to go undefeated. I think 10-2 is certainly in the realm.
My question is similar to what you're talking about right now. Is this more Florida State is back, or is this more Bama's down bad?
I think it's both.
Okay, so like we're saying, you think it's more likely that Florida State's going to be 8-4, 9-3 than it is that Bama is going to be boo-boo. No, you're saying that both teams are probably 9-3 teams.
I actually think Bama's ceiling this year is 8-4, and that might be a scorching hot take. But when you look at the schedule, preseason rankings, you've got number 4 Georgia on the road. You've got Tennessee at home. You've got number 10 South Carolina on the road. You've got LSU. You've got Oklahoma. You've got 5 ranked teams on this schedule, not counting Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Auburn still on that schedule.
Yeah, and they have to play Wisconsin.
And Wisconsin, I mean, the Fighting Luke Fickell shut out Miami, Ohio. I'm not saying Wisconsin's going to win, but suddenly that game is way more intriguing.
Yeah. Well, and all right, you talk about Gunnar Stockton in Georgia. I don't know who that guy is yet. I know he started a playoff game. I don't know who he is yet.
I know Alabama's offensive line is not good enough right now to block anybody on Georgia's defensive line.
So right, that game, if it's going to be a rock fight. So but Diego Pavia can give him hell. Bo Perbulo, Joe Aguilar, like you've already said. I mean, and then Garrett Nussmeier at this rate, they might throw for 400 yards.
Lenore Sellers might just run the ball 30 times to beat Alabama.
Or Jake, Alabama, all these players, so you hear all the rumblings, Kellen DeBoer doesn't have them organized. There's no discipline. The guys are staying up late, yada, yada, yada. Maybe they realize that their recruiting ranking doesn't matter anymore, and they have to treat every opponent the same no matter what. And we see Florida State come back down the earth and be normal, and Alabama will get back to what everybody thought they were going to be. And I think that's very likely. I think Florida State's going to take a step back, and Alabama is going to take a step up, proverbial, from where people are viewing them right now. They're not going to be a dumpster fire the entire year. I truly don't think that.
I think Bama's 8-4 this year. I truly, they've already got one loss. You tell me I only got to find 3 more losses on that schedule. I can find 3 losses on that schedule.
Is Kalen DeBoer fired at 8-4? With a $70 million buyout?
So Bama, they'll find the money. They'll find the money. They'll call up all their NFL dudes. Nick Saban might pay himself, honestly. 8-4. I think the admin will give him another season. But I mean, you're on thin ice. Like, you got to make playoffs in year 3. I could see them parting ways after year 2. If he loses to Auburn, I guess depends how he loses games. That's a big thing. Like, they got embarrassed by Florida State. Like, that was an embarrassing way. The 14 points is not what that was. That he got beat. If he loses, like, at Georgia, if he loses LSU, if he loses Oklahoma, and he loses Missouri, or I guess that would be 3 right there. That makes it 4. But you beat Auburn, and you beat Tennessee, and you beat South Carolina. Like, I think there's a path to keep your job, but I think you're walking in on the hottest seat in America next year.
Listen to this, Jake. Since 2007, when Alabama has been favored by at least 14 points, Nick Saban was 131-2.
Oh, I saw that.
Kalen DeBoer is already 4-4.
Yeah.
By doubled, when they're favored by 14 points or more, he has lost 4 times.
Yep. Michigan, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and Saturday.
Nick Saban lost twice.
Mm-hmm. I do think it's unfair to compare anybody to Nick Saban. I mean, it's honestly not fair. It's like comparing your local high school quarterback to Peyton Manning. Like, it's not going to be a real comparison.
No, that's why I'm like, why did you leave Washington? I don't get it.
Yeah,
you had it made.
Know. Resources. I don't quite know the reason. I don't remember what we talked about with that job. I think
big Starbucks can pay him. Microsoft, big Starbucks, Boeing.
I think there was a little bit of a head scratch here, and I think that 8-4, the alumni, the Nick Saban players are going to want a change because they're not going to be happy with it. It's not going to sit well with them at all.
Hell, the media is
already calling for him to be gone.
Yeah. Oh, did you see what Legend said on the Paul Feinbaum show?
No.
So it's an Alabama fan that goes by the name of Legend, and I'm gonna summarize it real quick. You ready? Paul, I don't hate anybody. Let me tell you what. If Kalen DeBoer was on life support, I'd unplug it to charge my phone.
Oh my goodness.
That was said in summary on the Paul Feinbaum show. Yes, I'm not an actor, but if you need me, I can give you my phone number. I can't act.
He can be a voice actor for you.
He can be a voice actor for you. I mean, I think people, if you close your eyes, even if you're listening to the podcast, unless you're driving.
I could picture Legend based off of that.
Yeah, you heard that was Legend. Like, wow, that dude's name is Legend. He pulls for Alabama. Yeah, so you're welcome for the method acting.
Let's jump over to Sunday night, Miami and Notre Dame. Top 10 matchup, another one. Crazy week 1. Miami wins this game 27-24. And the biggest takeaway for me in this game was Notre Dame's offense, Mike Denbrock, has no idea how to call plays because at one point, CJ Carr had twice as many pass attempts as Jeremiah Love had rushing attempts. And CJ Carr actually finished the game with 11 rushing attempts, and Jeremiah Love finished with 10 rushing attempts. I don't know how an offensive coordinator puts his redshirt freshman quarterback, who has basically no actual snaps. I think CJ Carr played 1 series last year against Purdue when Notre Dame was up like 50 points against your arguably Heisman contending running back, and you only gave him the ball 10 times out of the backfield.
That was pretty ignorant in my opinion. I mean, looking at it, it's a lot easier sitting over here. I'm like, okay, you have a Heisman winning a Heisman candidate running back. Why is he not getting the ball 40 times a game? Maybe his knee injury is still lingering a little bit from last year. I mean, I don't know. He wants to jump over everybody that exists.
He does want to jump over every single person. I don't understand that, but he wants to hurdle every single person. But
I also wait. Can I go and get? Can I get?
They threw the ball the first couple plays. Like Jeremiah Smith needs the ball, or Jeremiah Love needs the ball first 2 plays without question.
Jeremiah Smith also does need the ball. I will agree with you there.
Facts. That's agreeable.
So, I've thrown you under the bus for your Alabama take. I'll hand up. I'm most humble guy on this podcast. I'll put it out there myself, humbly.
Do you like Carson Beck now?
I may or may not have had a spicy take last week that said that Notre Dame was going to win by 17. Buddy, I was wrong. I was wrong by -20. And do I believe in Carson Beck? Not yet. However, he only threw for 200 yards. So let's not get crazy on him, people. Yes, he had a 67%.
Wide receivers made some crazy catches.
That's what I want to get to. So CJ Daniels, had 1 catch last year, I think it was. So the one he had this game for a touchdown was pretty big. But Carson Beck goes from having the wide receiving core that leads the nation in drop passes to this Miami receiving core that made one of the most insane catches I've ever seen in my life. And Jake, you put it perfectly. Last year, that was a pick for both teams.
Yeah.
For Carson Beck's team, for Carson Beck at Georgia, or for Cam Ward's Miami, that was a pick. Nope. Not this year.
Xavier Restrepo might have caught that.
You're right. But I do want to tell Miami fans, come back down to earth a little bit. Come back down to earth a little bit. You haven't won the ACC yet. Calm down. Yes, you played well.
That defensive line, though, oh my goodness,
disgusting.
They ate at the end of the game.
If you want to be excited,
ate that offensive line.
If you want to be excited, Ruben Bain Jr., if you didn't already know who he was, he's one of the best, if not the best, edge rusher in college football this year. 3 sacks. CBS has him listed at half a sack. There's no way, because that dude lived in the backfield. And
what
the play
was
of the game,
crazier, real quick, the catch by CJ Daniels or the interception that went off of the foot that Ruben Bain caught?
Yeah, the one that was tipped like 45 times
by people's feet into the air.
Yeah, I think those are equally crazy. One was more skill, one was more, hey, you're just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, but they were both the crazy plays.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, like, phenomenal game. Hey, and hats off to Notre Dame. You didn't throw the towel in when you were down multiple double digits. So, I think you come out of this game, you're like, all right, Miami is not as bad as I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be 7-5. Maybe they're 8-4 now. I'll give you an extra win because I didn't have you winning this one.
They're probably a little better than that.
No, I think so too. And like, if everyone wants to talk Carson Beck, I still don't believe in him. This might be me being hard-headed, but the thing I liked the most out of Miami's offense wasn't the passing game. It was Fletcher and Lyle and Brown. I thought Fletcher did a really, really good job running the football, especially against that front. And you have Shamar Brown, who looked pretty good. I'm pretty sure he's a freshman. I'm trying to see what his age is right now, but pretty sure he's a freshman. That's a weird sentence to say.
Malachi Toney was a freshman, and he led the team with 83 receiving yards.
Malachi Toney is a baller. That guy is going to be the next Miami receiver. CJ Daniels is going to have that play cemented in Miami lore, but Malachi Toney is going to be the dude this year for Miami. But when you talk about Miami this year, I think at the end of the year, you're going to look back and say, okay, Mark Fletcher Jr. had a really good year. That's why we are what we are, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let's do – okay, so there's a couple more games here, and I want to do quick hits because we definitely still got to preview this upcoming week. So with this series throughout the year, we're going to have other games that were not as featured, but we want to give a thought here. So I'm going to list off a game, and you give me your one singular thought about that game. USF and Boise. USF knocking Boise off.
UCF is extremely physical. They brought the fight. USF brought the fight to Boise State. They're extremely physical. They're a hell of a ball team. They might make it to the playoff. And maybe I'm overreacting, but watching them play and run around like that, like the defense did on Friday night. Or no, that was a Thursday night game, correct?
Thursday night game.
On Thursday night, actually Thursday afternoon, they played at 5:30. That gave me a lot of confidence in Alex Golish's Bulls.
Yeah, mine is Byron Brown is a dude, and if he can stay healthy, I mean, their next 2 games are Florida and Miami. If they can find a way to beat one of them somehow, they're the absolute leader in the clubhouse for the group of 5 to make the playoff.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that game if you're the betting man. Stay away from them.
I would not. But if they can find a way to win either one of them, they're in great shape. UTSA, A&M. This game was way closer than it probably should have been.
I think this says more about UTSA than it does about Texas A&M. I think UTSA is a phenomenal football team. They're really well coached. I mean, everybody's going to sit there and clown on Texas A&M for this coming down to the wire, but I mean, UTSA, I don't know. Jeff Traylor has been in every single coaching conversation. When an opening happens, there's a reason for that. And he's always going to have his team prepared. And they came out there and they gave them a big scare in Aggie land.
It didn't quite come down to the wire. I mean, in the fourth quarter, at one point, it was 42-17. Like, A&M ran away with it at one point. Second half, A&M ran away with it. They scored 3 straight touchdowns. After it was 21-17, they made it 42-17 real quick. But I think A&M, they got a little bit of a scare, and then they righted the ship pretty quick. Auburn and Baylor, this game was exciting, came down to the wire there. My thought is, how long can Jackson Arnold run the ball like that before somebody gets him? Like, before somebody hits him too hard, because he can't run the ball 15 or 20 times every game in the SEC.
Right. And then, on the flip side, if you're Baylor, I wouldn't panic.
No, I would not panic yet. You got to figure some stuff out on offense, and especially on defense, but you couldn't stop Arnold, but Arnold didn't throw the ball very well.
I think Auburn's defense is underrated. I think when we look back, we're going to see Auburn as one of those top defenses in the country. So the fact that Baylor was able to do what they did to them, I think is going to be – they did a phenomenal job. We'll find out this week when they play SMU.
Georgia Tech and Colorado. I have the same question for Haynes King. How long can your body take a beating before something gives?
We saw last year he's going to have a season-ending injury every single game. And once that happens and he comes back onto the football field, he's going to play better.
Yeah, I don't understand. The dude, it's like you hit him harder and he just gets better. It doesn't make any sense.
Also, Colorado should have gotten boat raced, but Georgia Tech gave them 3 turnovers in the first 8 minutes of the game, and Colorado still lost. And
Colorado was gifted points, and somehow they said, no thanks, we're okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Virginia Tech and South Carolina, other than Virginia Tech, just Kyron Jones is not the guy. He just is not the guy. My take here is Lenore Sellers, if they're going to do anything, they're going to have to pile the other 84 guys on the back of Lenore Sellers and walk.
Yeah, there's some positive sides. I mean, you talk about South Carolina's defensive backfield and linebackers. They look phenomenal. I think the interior of that defensive line looked pretty weak. Everybody outside of Dylan Stewart looked pretty weak. Lenore Sellers.
Dylan Stewart's a freak, though.
Yes, he is. But he needs to be a little bit more disciplined. Quit jumping off sides, buddy. Running the football did not look good. I mean, you look at it from a snapshot, and you're like, okay, South Carolina played pretty well. There was a 2nd and 32, and they ran for 30 yards in that play.
Yeah, that was terrible defense by Virginia Tech. That wasn't anything in South Carolina. It was just terrible defense by Virginia Tech.
Right. So the offensive line for South Carolina has to step up. And Nick Harbor, do not let him run anything less than 15 yards. Because if he catches anything less than 15, if the ball is thrown to him any less than 15 yards on the field, he has donkey hooves for hands and will not catch it. So
everybody that plays college football 26 says, why don't you just run a go route with Nick Harbor? He's got 99 speed. Dude runs and it worked. Dude runs like a 10 flat in the 100-meter.
Yeah, and they did, and it worked. It was a 64-yard touchdown. So just keep using them for that.
And then TCU, I don't even know what to say how bad they beat North Carolina. Everybody saw that one, and I think that my take is TCU is probably a good team, and I think North Carolina is probably a terrible team.
You know what you should say? Jake. Riff, ram, ba, zoo, lickety lick, zoo, zoo, woo, wah, goo from hell, TCU. That's all you got to say.
I don't even know what that means. That didn't even sound like English.
That's what they say at TCU. I'm learning this.
You're becoming a horn frog?
I'm a horn frog nation, baby. Horn frog nation.
All right, let's talk about our upcoming games here. We got 3 upcoming games that we're going to talk about. First one here, we did this last week. We each took a team and picked their keys to success. You want to continue with that this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Oklahoma and Michigan. This was an easy one for you. What is Oklahoma's keys to success against Michigan here?
Jonathan Mateer needs to show up and show why he was given the opportunity to go to Oklahoma. And Jeff Arbuckle needs to show why he came with him as the OC. So John Mateer needs to show up, be able to pass the game. You cannot be one-dimensional. Yes, Michigan lost a lot on this defense, but they're still a phenomenal defense. So be able to run the football as Oklahoma and then do what you do on defense. You don't have to be cute. Put the pressure on Bryce Underwood, make him make mistakes, and then just execute on offense. So just to go ahead and get ahead of this, I have Oklahoma winning by at least 14 points in this game. But if that tells you anything, anytime I say double digits, the team that I said double digit win would lose. So maybe don't follow me.
Yeah, I think the key here for Michigan is how can you get the rushing game going? Justice Haynes had 159 yards, looked really good against New Mexico. I know it's only New Mexico, but Michigan had more rushing yards against New Mexico than they had in any game last year. They had more passing yards than in any game they had last year. I know it's only New Mexico, but you played plenty of crap teams last year, and you still didn't do it too. So I think the key is how do you get the rushing game going? Oklahoma's defense, you know that they're going to key in on keeping things close to the line of scrimmage. How and when are you going to take a shot downfield? I mean, Bryce Underwood, I don't know if you watched any of this game, Will. I figured you didn't because at the same time. Underwood's ball, that has some zip on it. This dude can sling the rock, but he is going to make a true freshman mistake at some point this weekend. How do you limit that? And how can you help prevent those happen? You don't want to handcuff them because this is kind of a bigger game, and Oklahoma is not going to handcuff John Mateer. They have an experienced quarterback. They've got Jaden out. They've got a way more experienced team on the other side than Michigan does, especially when you talk about, Jordan Marshall is a backup running back. He hasn't played a ton. Wide receiver, you're trying to figure out who your guys are going to be. Marlon Klein had 93 yards at tight end, shocking Michigan throws to the tight end. I think you try to get Bryce Underwood in a groove early, see if you can get some points on the board, but also your goal is honestly to make it look like that Ohio State-Texas game. How do you keep Oklahoma under 20 points? If you can keep Oklahoma under 20 points, I like your chances. If Oklahoma is at 24, 27 points, I'm not sure Bryce Underwood's going to take, Michigan to 31 points against Oklahoma's defense in his second career start.
No, I don't think so. And I think the experience that John Mateer has, regardless of the conference that he played in, is going to be what leads him to be able to win this game.
Second game here, we got Iowa and Iowa State. I'm going to let you take Iowa State here. I figured that's one you'd want.
Yeah, let's go. Well, I love the Hawkeyes in this one too, but the Cyhawks, this is the Cyhawk rivalry. Throw the record books out. No love lost here. But listen, Iowa State, you talk about Rocco Becht. He has been flawless this year. The running game's been good with Charles Hanson. So Abu Sama got in the end zone this weekend. So he maybe he's coming into form. But the defense, Big Citrus, I forget his first name, but Big Orange, Big Citrus is what they call him at nose tackle, is a force on the defensive line, one of the best defensive linemen in the country. If Iowa is going to win this football game, they have got to find a way to run the football, and I just don't think they can on this Iowa State front consistently. So if Iowa State can stop the run, if Rocco Becht can limit turnovers, which he's done a really good job of, and if they can establish a run and return, I think Iowa State can win this game.
Do you remember how we were all excited for Mark Gronowski?
I'm very excited for Mark Gronowski. I still have
Iowa his
winning 10
line?
games.
Did you see his stat line? You're not going to be as excited when I read you his stat line from last week.
No. Oh, no.
He was 8 of 15 for 44 yards.
Oh, against who? St. Agnes School for Girls?
Albany Great Danes.
Yep. Golly. Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
2.9 yards per completion. 2.9.
Yeah, what do you?
The backup had more, and when he completed one pass for 4 yards, his yards per completion was higher because he completed one pass for 4 yards. I am concerned about the passing attack here. I think that they're going to have to rely on the rushing attack. Gronowski came from a system where he threw for like 4,000 yards in South Dakota. And he was playing an FCS team. That's the part that really throws me for a loop here is he played basically against similar competition last year, and he was shredding them. Is this a question of, is Gronowski just, I have not watched the tape. I'm going to be 100% honest here. I'm looking at the box scores. I hate when people look at box scores, but I'm doing that because I didn't have time to sit here and go back and watch. But from everything I read online and what I read, Gronowski did not look good. He did not look good in his first start. Xavier Williams had 11 carries for 122 yards and a touchdown. Terrell Washington had 15 carries, 69 yards. Are they going to have to rely on the rushing attack? Because if they do, this is going to be another very low-scoring game between the two. I think Iowa's defense is going to be good. They Phil Parker, a defensive coordinator. I think the key here is, I mean, it's cliche. How do you get Mark Gronowski comfortable? How do you get him to stretch the field? How do you get him to get the ball to different playmakers in space? Because 8 of 15 for 44 yards is no better than any of those quarterbacks that have come through in the last 5 years that Iowa fans have seen and complained about. Gronowski is no better than any of those guys based off of these stats and based off his play on Saturday against an FCS team. There would be legitimate concern on my part playing Iowa State this weekend with a quarterback that can't complete a pass for a first down. Like the long on Saturday was 13 yards. 13 yards, Will. Only one pass catcher had more than one catch, and he had 2.
Yeah, I'm starting to sell my Iowa stock.
That's not good. That's not something that you want out of your quarterback. The fact that Gronowski threw a touchdown is actually kind of funny. It was one reception. It was for 2 yards, but it counts.
He also ran for 1.
He did run for 1. So he definitely, obviously, is a threat to run the ball. But I'm concerned for Iowa. How do you keep this game low scoring and hope that Gronowski can turn it on at some point? I guess that's my key is how can you ugly it up? You're going to have to force turnovers.
Maybe Iowa didn't empty the clip against Albany.
I think Iowa has to find a way to get a short field a couple times, whether that's, playing field position and getting Iowa State to punt out of their own end zone, whether that's an interception or a fumble. How can you start on the plus side of the field at least twice and get yourself some points? Because if you have to drive 70 or 80 yards, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
Last game here. Let's do Kansas and Missouri. I will let you take the Kansas Jayhawks, and I will take Missouri this week. What do the fighting Jalen Daniels need to do?
Well, just that. Jalen Daniels need to be able to stay healthy, because when he's on, he is a menace with the football, running it. He's got elite accuracy. The offense in week 1 week 0 against Fresno State was like poetry in motion. Watching the move, watching the motions, it looked like an Andy Koldenecki offense, which this offense coordinator came from that same tree. So I like the way they look. Obviously, they play Wagner. You don't get much out of that. So this is their first real test. So can Jalen Daniels stay healthy? If he can stay healthy in this game, I'm feeling pretty confident. I want to see the running game get established from Kansas. Can Kansas run the football in Missouri? Because that is what everything is built off of on this Kansas offense. If you cannot run, you will not be able to pass at all. Because again, this entire offense is built around running the football and then the passing schemes coming off of those run concepts. And then the defense just needs to be opportunistic. Missouri's going to make mistakes. Bo Pribula is going to make mistakes. You don't have to be a world beater defense. Be opportunistic. Make the plays when they're there.
Yeah, I think when I look at Missouri here, so Bo Pribula had a very good debut. Now, granted, it was against Central Arkansas. You take that with an absolute grain of salt.
The 23-28.
They are the Bears. They are the Bears. He was 23-28 for 283 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ran the ball for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of them was a crazy 31-yard rush, but he really ran like 60 yards because he ran so far backwards and he ran so far forwards. But he's only credited with 30 yards. Ahmad Hardy had 10 carries for 100 yards, 10 yards per carry. Not bad at all. For Missouri, Kansas rushing defense has been good so far. They played Fresno State and they played Wagner. Bill Pribula, obviously, you have to use his legs. I don't think Pribula is a guy that can sit in the pocket and throw the ball, like just sit there 30 times and pass out of the pocket. And that's the only way he makes a play. I think if he touches, like if he is the last one with the ball 35 times, or I guess not, I don't want to say that. He either throws the ball 25 times, has additional 10 carries. I think that there's a combination there, 35-ish between rushes and passes combined. And I think that's where you need to find your sweet spot. You can't just run him 18, 19 times and hope that you get enough. You can't just have him throw his shoulder down and try to make plays. He's got to make an equal number of plays with his arm as he does with his legs. You also have Hardy, who you need to be able to use. You've got to be able to find a way to break through that Kansas defense. We don't really know much about it when they played Wagner and Fresno State. Are they actually a good rushing defense, or are both those teams just bad at rushing the ball? That's right, what we don't know.
Right, because statistically, they've only given up 90 yards combined rushing to those two teams. Again, it was Fresno State and Wagner. But they've only given up 14 points, which is pretty good.
Fresno State and Wagner.
You're right, but you have to think, too, that a lot of backups probably got some time.
Oh, yeah.
And probably got a lot of playing time. And you know what backups do really well? Missed assignments. So that gives up points most of the time. So I want to take with a grain of salt that Kansas is 2-0 and they're coming to this game, hot as bacon grease. But take it with a grain of salt because they played Fresno State and Wagner. However, I still think no matter who you play, it's tough to hold opponents to less than 100 yards rushing. And it's very difficult to keep opponents from scoring. And I don't think Wagner scored because I'm pretty sure Fresno State scored 14 against them in the first game.
I think Missouri needs a hot start on Saturday because Kansas already having 2 games under their belt already. It's a little bit more of an advantage. You've already been able to see mistake, fix it, see mistake, and now you're fixing it again. Missouri played half a game, really, against Central Arkansas because all these guys were basically out by halftime. Like
now, Jay,
they were playing a true freshman quarterback towards the end of the game.
When are we going to make our announcement?
Oh, do that now. Hopefully Kansas wins because if Kansas wins, that's just another game because Will and I will be heading to Lawrence, Kansas for Kansas State versus Kansas in the, Sunflower
Showdown, baby.
Sunflower
SS,
Showdown.
Who could forget?
We will be heading to the Sunflower Showdown here end of October. If anybody's ever been to that game, let us know. If you've been to Kansas, let us know. I've literally never been to the state of Kansas in my life.
Me neither. First time.
We'll love recommendations, looking for things to do. We'll be covering the game. We're going to work on some things ahead of time here, see what we can figure out, try to get some really good content here while we're out there and see what we can divulge and find for you guys while we're there. But we're looking at doing maybe a couple other interactive things while we're out in Kansas as well.
Yeah. Consider this a soft launch. Kansas, we will be in you.
Yeah, that's a way to say it. All right. Let's talk about our spiciest take. Last week did not go well. We talked about them already, but it's time for the Gridiron Spiciest Take of the week. Just like boldest college football hot takes, Gridiron Spice Company brings flavor to every meal. From the signature varsity blend to the fiery hot route and the Cajun-inspired Go Long, G-E-A-U-X, Go Long. Like these seasonings are built for game day. Head to gridironspiceco.com. Use code WALK-ON for 10% off your order. Gridiron Spice, where football meets flavor. All right. These are spicy takes for a reason. Spicy takes for a reason. USF plays Florida this weekend. I think USF has the lead at some point in the fourth quarter. I don't think they win. I think USF has the lead at some point in the fourth quarter this weekend.
I love that take. I really do love that take.
I'm just a big, after watching Byron Brown, I am sold. Stock is sky high. I could not be higher on USF right now.
Are you Rocky Mountain High? Rocky Mountain Oyster High?
Well, Florida is a little far from the Rockies, but sure.
But Rocky Mountain Oysters, because that's what comes from a bowl, right?
I don't want those. I don't want those. I'm good on those. I am good on Rocky Mountain Oysters. I'm sure.
Have you tried them before?
Them. No, I'm good. Thanks, though.
All right. If we're being honest, are we in the trust tree?
How many times have you had it?
I've had it once, and it tasted like the chicken nuggets I used to get back in high school. So I'm starting to wonder what they gave me to in high school as
bull
chicken
testicles.
Nuggets. Well, I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to come out and call myself out. I was going to let the people do the research. But yes, I've had bull testicles in my mouth before. Fried. They were fried.
Ah, okay. Is that your spicy take that you're going to put Gridiron Spice on your Rocky Mountain Oysters?
You send them to me, I'll do it. That's a guarantee.
That is a heck of a deal. What's your spicy take for this weekend?
All right. So I've got two teams that I really like that I'm looking at and I'm pondering, Jake. And I've got a little coin I'm flipping, and my coin's name is Jake. Jake, pick a number 1 or 2.
2.
I think Kansas not only beats Missouri, I think they cement themselves as a favorite to win the Big 12 after this week. I think they're going to go in there and make a statement against Missouri. This is a very, very spicy take, but I think Kansas will be up by 14 in the fourth quarter.
Okay. That is a spicy take.
I was going to say first quarter. Let's say first quarter. Kansas is up 14 points in the first quarter. That's spicier.
Okay. Yeah, that's just right out the gate.
Yeah.
Right out the gate. All right. Let's jump into our Walk-On Weekly 10. I went 4-6 last week. You went 3-7.
But that was the preseason. Didn't count.
Yeah, preseason. Didn't count. I got the games we split. We went 2-1 on. Let's see how we do for this weekend. So, first game here on the slate, we've got Iowa at Iowa State, with Iowa State being a 2.5-point favorite. Who do you like?
Give me my Cyclones. I love Matt Campbell. You know I love Matt Campbell. Rocco Becht has one of the best names in college football as a quarterback. How do you go against that? Abu Sama is starting to emerge. I've been high on him for 2 years. I've been Rocky Mountain high on him for 2 years, not Oysters. So give me my Cyclones to win and cover, obviously, against Iowa.
I wanted to take Iowa here, but when I read more about Mark Gronowski, I mean, I can't. I can't. It's a prove it to me factor with Gronowski.
Does it give you a pause to think about what happened with Kansas State against North Dakota last weekend?
About
that's what Iowa State. That's what Iowa State played and went to the wire with in Dublin.
But Iowa State beat their FCS opponent pretty good. North Dakota is not North Dakota State. North Dakota is not even a top 25 FCS program.
No, they're garbage. So you think about that. So they beat Kansas State down to the wire, and then they play, and then Kansas State turns around and almost loses to North Dakota.
Yeah, I'm not big on the transitive property with that. I think Iowa State's just a better program right now. And Iowa didn't look great. I mean, passing, running attack, they were fine. But I'm going to take Iowa State to cover 2.5 points.
Let's make a quote card for that. Jake is not into the transitive property. And put it on a quote card, please.
Yeah, we'll put that one on the quote card. That one will do numbers. All right, Illinois, number 11, Illinois is a 2.5-point favorite on the road at Duke. This line kind of surprised people because of it only being 2.5 points.
Yeah, I mean, Duke is going to be a solid football team this year. I like Darian Mensah. But I don't like the receivers they have over there. Don't know enough about them. I trust anytime Manny Diaz puts a defense out there that it's going to be good. But what I don't like is when Manny Diaz is in the ACC and he's coaching against a big-time team. Illinois lost their best receivers. Last year, I'm forgetting the two guys' names. But they had a guy this weekend that was a playmaker all over the field. And now that I'm trying to tell you about him, his name is slipping my mind. But give me Illinois. Give me Illinois big, but I'm just going to say, just give me Illinois.
Cooper Barquette.
Yes.
Barquette.
Thank you.
I'm going to take Duke here, actually. There's something about this spread that I think Vegas knows that Duke is going to keep this game close. I think Darian Mensah is a really good quarterback. I mean, he threw for almost 400 yards. I know it was Elon, but they basically just let him go out there and play, and he did his job.
When does Elon change their logo to just a picture of Elon Musk?
I figured they'd just go with the Tesla logo.
I think it'd be cool just to have Elon Musk,
just his face
in like a fighting pose, but pasty white. They have to wear white.
That might scare me, honestly.
Home or away.
That logo might just be fearful. But yeah, I'm going to take Duke here. I just think there's something about this line that Vegas knows. I think Darian Mensah will do enough. Illinois, I'm concerned that they might be one of the fraudulent teams this year. I think they're good. I don't know if they're as good as the 11th rank, though. Virginia and NC State. NC State is a 2.5-point favorite. I know you're going to take Virginia, so go ahead and tell me why.
I'm taking Virginia. Listen, Virginia played Coastal Carolina. A lot of people think Coastal Carolina is a pretty good group of 5 team. And Virginia laid it on them. And my boy Chandler Morris had a game and a half. And what did North Carolina State do, Jake? What did North Carolina State do? North Carolina State went down to the wire with their G5 opponent, East Carolina, which a lot of people think East Carolina is going to be pretty good. But when Virginia was playing a similar opponent, they beat them 48-7. When North Carolina played that opponent, they only won by 7. So I am into transitive properties, and I think that Virginia is going to be able to come out there and beat up on North Carolina State in Raleigh. Don't care. Let's go Wahoos. This is game 2 of the 9 that I think they're going to win.
I'm going to take NC State and ruin these hopes right now. I think that this was a tune-up game for NC State. I think that was just season opening, jitters, whatnot. I think ECU is not bad. But I think CJ Bailey is going to have a strong game here. He threw for over 300 yards last weekend. I could see this game being a shootout. Like, I could see this game easily being 40-35 because I think both quarterbacks could just air it out this game. But I'm going to take NC State. I'm going to take NC State to cover 2.5. Not confident in it, but I'm going to take it.
I like it.
Baylor at SMU. SMU is another 2.5-point favorite. That's 4 straight 2.5-point favorites, by the way. Baylor at SMU.
When I did my preseason picks, I had SMU going 6-6 and falling from grace, and I'm not straying from that. So give me Baylor to cover. They don't have to travel very far, so I'm going with my Baylor Bears against SMU. Sorry,
this is another one. This is another one we're differing on. I'm going to take SMU here. I am still on the Kevin Jennings train. I like what Baylor showed last week. A little more battle tested, obviously playing Auburn, but I am going to take SMU here. I just think that they're going to get a hot enough start, and I still like SMU. I think people are sleeping on SMU after making the playoff last year, that they're not giving them enough credit for the program that Rhett Lashley has built there. Ole Miss at Kentucky. Ole Miss is a 10.5-point favorite here.
I think this one's pretty easy. Ole Miss. I mean, there's not much to say. Kentucky's going to suck. Zach Calzada has been playing college football for 94 years, and it's not going to help Kentucky at all this year.
Yeah, I think this is a revenge game as well. Ole Miss knows that if they would have beat Kentucky last year, they would have made the playoffs. 10.5 points. I think that Ole Miss is going to win this game by like 25 at least. Oklahoma State at Oregon. Oregon is a 28.5-point favorite. Why did you put this game on here?
I mean, we could flip it. You want to do Mississippi State, Arizona
No,
State?
it's fine. This is fine. This is funny. This will be funny to throw a 28.5 point spread on here.
Well, so I put that one on there because of the 28.5 point spread. So between that and Mississippi State, Arizona State, I think that one's too chalky. We would have both picked Arizona State. I think this one adds a little intrigue because it's going to be tough. Like, all right, we both probably think Oregon's going to win and win big, but do we think they're going to win by 28.5? Do we think they're going by 29?
I don't know. Do you think they're going to win by 28.5?
My answer is no.
Oh,
My answer is no. So I got Oklahoma State to cover, and you know what's going to happen, Jake? Is people are going to see this graphic, and they're going to automatically assume that I'm picking Oklahoma State to win.
Even after every week I say it's by the spread, people always ask.
Right. So in the wise words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Oregon's going to win. Oklahoma State will cover. They're going to lose by 27. They're going to lose by 28, Jake.
You get the cover in there. Yeah, I'm going to take
right.
Oregon here. Oklahoma State sucks. Oklahoma State starting quarterback is out already, and he didn't even play much last year, so they're already on their backup quarterback into week 2. Dante Moore looked good enough. I don't think we're going to learn much about Oregon in this game either. I think that Oregon is going to try to get the run game going. Mekhi Hughes didn't do much last week. I think he'll have a bigger game this week. Kansas at Missouri. We got the border war. Kansas is a 6.5 point underdog at Missouri. Who you like? And why is it Kansas?
Yeah, it's Kansas. It's Kansas. Give me Jalen Daniels. He's on a hot streak. I honestly wouldn't doubt this Daniels in the Heisman race after this week. I know we're high on him. I know we're biased, but the dude can freaking play. He's already thrown for 475 yards against 2 cupcakes, so he hasn't even played the entire game in both those games. He's going to come out there and cement his legacy as one of the Kansas Jayhawk greats this weekend.
Yeah, I'm taking Kansas as well. I think playing 2 games already, I think, is huge. And I really do feel like Kansas is going to play some of their best football this year. The defense is rolling so far. I think they continue it this weekend. USF is a 17.5 point favorite. My bad. Florida is a 17.5 point favorite against USF at home. Florida is home this weekend. I already tipped my pick earlier. I'm going to take USF to cover this spread. I already said USF will be winning in the fourth quarter, so that didn't give it away. This did. I don't think USF wins this game. I'm going to make that very clear in case USF is not winning this game. Take that back just in case. I need to cover my bases. USF will probably not win this game. USF will probably not win this game, but I think they cover the spread.
Florida is able to win in so many different facets this year. I think with DJ Lagway and then Ball, the running back they have. I think the defense is going to be phenomenal. I think they're going to be able to be too unpredictable for USF. I think Florida wins and covers.
Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is somehow a 1.5 favorite against Vanderbilt.
Similar to the Oklahoma State-Oregon game, that spread, I wanted to put this one on there because it has a funny spread.
Yeah, this one, I don't understand this spread at all. How is Virginia Tech a 1.5? Kyron Drones doesn't even look like a real quarterback half the time. And, I mean, Vanderbilt feels like the easiest pick ever with this. I mean, I know, well, Diego Pavia says they're winning a national championship, so I might as well just listen to Diego Pavia.
Yeah, you might as well the Diego show. Go, Diego, go. I don't know. I'm not so quick to jump on the Vanderbilt train. Virginia Tech gave South Carolina a lot of trouble. You know what? Give me the Hokies. Give me the Hokies. It's at Virginia Tech. Enter Sandman's going to be playing, and Diego Pavia is not ready for that. Both his brothers are in jail after fighting in downtown Nashville or whatever they were doing. So, listen, we're on a hot streak of family members getting arrested after the game. So we've got the Avery Johnson dad and son duo, and then now we've got Diego Pavia's brothers down in Nashville. I think it was public intoxication actually for those two. So let's keep the streak going. Who's getting arrested this week? What family members?
What family's getting arrested for this weekend?
If I had to put money on it, it's going to be Mateo Uiagalelei's dad at the Oregon or Oklahoma State game.
You think DJ is going to get arrested too?
No, I think he's a good guy. His dad likes to talk. his dad's a big guy too. So
his dad loves to talk on Twitter. His dad loves to talk on Twitter.
Yes, he does.
Big Twitter guy, has annoyed a lot of fan bases. And then decided to throw it at all their fan bases when DJU played in a preseason game and wasn't terrible. All right, final game here of the weekend. The big game, only top 25 matchup, Michigan at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 5.5-point favorite here.
I got Oklahoma. I got Oklahoma winning big. I'm just really high on this Oklahoma roster. Jaden Ott was listed as the third string guy going into the game last week. I'm blanking on who they played. It caused a lot of controversy. From what I heard and read, he was battling some injuries, and they really didn't want to use him and get him hurt against a nobody before they play Michigan. So expect to see Jaden Ott a lot more often in this game. It's at Norman. John Mateer show, Jaden Ott show, Brenton Venables defense show. I think they win big. I'm
taking Michigan here, actually. I'm going to take Michigan to cover, but Oklahoma to win. I think this is just going to be an ugly, low-scoring game. Like, if you told me this game was 21-17 or 20-17, like, I think it's going to be right in that range. Michigan's got a good defense. Jayshon Barnum is going to be out for the first half, though, after a targeting call. I think that's a very key player to watch. He's probably one of their best defenders. Going to be a major player there at linebacker, especially because Mateer can run the ball. Mateer is probably going to attack the middle there, especially not having Barnum there. I think that is going to probably be one of the biggest keys. We didn't talk about that earlier, but Jayshon Barnum being out, I think, is a major key for Michigan. Can they keep it close enough, and can they keep it within striking distance where they're not asking Bryce Underwood to go and try to lead them from 2 scores down?
For y'all who don't know, Jayshon Barnum is their stud linebacker. Just FYI.
He is one of their best defenders, if not the best defensive player on that Michigan team. And I think that's going to be an absolute key. But I think they will do enough to keep it close. And I think they're going to cover the spread, but I think Oklahoma's going to walk away with the victory.
That offense needs to show up. That's what scares me about Michigan. I
agree.
Yes. So, I mean, we'll see.
I agree. 100%. I agree. With that does it for our week 2 preview. Week 1 recap. Appreciate everybody joining in. Make sure you go and subscribe to the podcast. I'm actually going to get our stickers out this week. So if you want a sticker, let me know. Drop us a message. Send me a message. Send me a tweet. I'll try to respond if I see it. If I don't, just keep sending to me, and I'll get you a sticker out here this week. And that way you can be a 5-star listener. Also, make sure to go download Squad Blitz. We've got contests coming up this weekend. Make sure to go check out the WalkOnRedshirts.com. Go follow us on social media at WalkOnRedshirts. Go follow Will at WalkOnMoose. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Wherever you get all your content, we are definitely there. With that being said, we're on to week 2. We've got so much college football ahead.
Don't take this for granted, guys. We're here. We made it. Lean in. Enjoy the cupcake games. Enjoy the big conference rivalries. Enjoy losing by 7 at home to a team that you should have beaten. We're here. Don't take this for granted. This sport is beautiful.